Jay here for Stretford Paddock. That is Joe McGrath.
Hello.
This is the live review. Spurs 2, Manchester United 0. An absolutely abysmal second half performance by Erik ten Hag's men, seeing the Reds continue our woeful away day record. I mean, if you look going back to last season, the only point we took against the top 9 teams away from Old Trafford was against Spurs. So in that respect, we're moving backwards, although you may look at it and go, well, after 2 games this season, we've got 3 points, and after 2 games last season, we had none. I don't, whichever way you want to look at it anyway, today was a very, very bad day for Manchester United. Get involved in the chat and the comments and let us know what you think. I'm going to go back to what seems like an eternity ago, Joe. Yes. So that first half where, okay, Spurs hit the bar and the post, but United had a lot of chances, well, a few chances, had what looked like a stonewall penalty turned down, and were probably, if not equal, the better team.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad day at the office, you said, but I believe it's a bad 45 minutes.
Okay.
I think the first half, you bring it back to it, I think we were doing really well against Spurs, and I think we were doing sort of, it was quite like neck and neck, end-to-end football. None of us seemed to have that sort of class to score, but we did have unbelievable chances. Bruno with a header that should have definitely gone in. A stonewall penalty, by the way, which I solely believe wasn't given to us just because of last week's Onana incident, where that should be forgotten about and then completely just start again. You've made a mistake, referees. Move on. I'd love to hear what they were saying in VAR to deny us that penalty. Because if we go 1-0 up at Tottenham's ground and we can kill momentum straight away by scoring, today's a different game. So I can be annoyed with United in the second half, and I will be. Don't worry, I will be. But I'm very, very annoyed at the inconsistencies that the referees are having across the Premier League today. I'm talking about the Liverpool game. I'm talking about last week against Onana. I'm talking about today against Spurs. There may be other incidents that I will see on Match of the Day later on. But we have to have some clarification on what the rules are. There shouldn't be penalties given in one game that aren't given in the next. VAR is to make the rules black and white. They can't be tampered with. That's what VAR is supposed to be. And it isn't, because the rules are even becoming even more complicated. Apart from that, United do pretty well in the first half. Some players look like standing up above the rest. I think Garnacho had a slightly better first half, or he tailed off massively in the second. We looked okay in the mid, but we were still getting cut through. Rashford again, nowhere to be seen. Bruno losing his head a bit. I think Wan-Bissaka was a brilliant player in the first half, but he does pick up a silly yellow, and unfortunately then we have to lose him. The first 45 minutes, we were sat here with no complaints, apart from the fact we weren't 1-0 up, and that's true.
Yeah, I think that I agree with everything you said there. I think the problem for me is there's certain players you look at them and you go, okay, maybe they're sort of allowed to, or you don't expect too much for them. They're allowed to have a bad game, or you don't expect too much from them in terms of it's all on them. But when I look at players like Bruno Fernandes, like Casemiro, like Marcus Rashford, those are the players I expect to step up. Those are the players I think they can make a difference in a game like this. Those are your match winners. Those are the people that can control the midfield, can create chances and get goals. And none of them were at the races today. No. I don't think any of them played well. And those are the players that you think, okay, they're all either at the peak or, in Casemiro's case, just past it. They've all played in bigger games than this and played well in bigger games than this. And you look at it, you go, okay, if those play well, it helps the others as well. And they didn't turn up. And then you look at other players who, for me, it still feels like the jury's out with Anthony. He's had one season where he did okay. This season so far, I think he's been poor. And I like the kid. I like the way he gets stuck in. I like the fact that he never gives up. But he's got to start hitting the target more. The best he's done is hit the post, I think, in the first 2 games, which admittedly was a decent effort. But still, it's not enough.
Yeah, you're right, because we can look back and we can blame some of the defenders for certain opportunities that were missed, better chances, better sort of tackles that could have been put in, and better clearances, etc. But our attacking lineup has just not shown up. We've scored 1 goal this season, and it's a Varane header. Rashford looks a little bit off the boil. Sancho, come on, I didn't really see him. Pellistri was the only one who turned up a little bit today, a little bit of a live wire for 10 minutes. Garnacho, there's a couple of things Garnacho did today which I really liked. But again, did he have an impact scoreline-wise? No. He left the pitch with no assist or no goal. Anthony, again, he hits the bar The post, sorry.
Yeah.
He hits the post. It's an absolute... It's a textbook Anthony strike. I get he should be scoring them.
Hit the target, though.
Hit the target.
Make the keeper make a save.
Oh.
We always say this with Anthony. He doesn't hit the target. If he makes the keeper make a save, there's quite a bit of the goal to aim for. A player of his ability, okay, it's in off the inside of the post, so he's desperately unlucky, but really, he should be hitting the target. And he doesn't. He's in the first 2 games, I don't think he's hit the target yet. No. You can't do that. You just can't have that. And then we've got Mason Mount, who, okay, is a new signing, but he is a Premier League experienced player. He's been in the Premier League last few seasons. He's a Champions League winner. He's come into this side as a sort of Erik ten Hag's main signing, or one of his main signings. Like, he's a player I want because he's available. No, we're not going to wait a year till he's out of contract. I want him now. And he's come in, and so far, first game I thought he did okay. This game, I don't think he did much. Again, what a little bit more from him. And then you look at Lisandro Martinez, who was fantastic last season, and today shown a bit more of what he's about. But then there's the 2 goals, and you look at him, can he have done better for certainly the second
100%.
one? I think he could have. I'm going to get in some of the comments before I come back to you.
Yeah.
Martian says, most games played across Europe last season, short break, brutal pre-season with a horrible travel schedule. Why is anyone surprised? The players look like unfit 50-year-old retirees. Jonathan Hanley says, I'm going to stab my eyes out again if I have to watch Rashford play as a centre-forward, or as a striker, sorry. He offers next to nothing, and it also needs dropping for Palestri. Daniel Berry says, Spurs didn't look unfit. Adam Levine says, Maddison 100 times better than Mason Mount. JR says, McTominay is better than Mount.
Well,
so
that's what
people sort of laying into Mason Mount at the minute.
I think some people are a little bit worried about Ten Hag's decision making earlier on in this season and the back end of last season, and that is just by reading comments, reading live chats, and reading people who are replying to our tweet today. I don't think Ten Hag is getting off lightly with this game. I think he's made some decisions, or he's not made decisions quickly enough for me not to give him a little bit of shit. Because if I'm going to give players shit, I'm going to have to give Ten Hag shit. Some of the decisions you're thinking, like a completely unchanged side, not even trying something else out, a little bit different, was a little bit... I understand why he did it at the start, but now we've just got beat 2-0. Was it the right decision? Hindsight's a great thing, 100%. But could he not try something different in the mid? Could he not tested a couple other players out? I think he's sometimes quite loyal to his players, but that may have cost us today. And it may have cost us. I think Garnacho starting may have cost us. I think just the way he played today, starting out in the first 45 minutes, could have cost us the game.
Callum Dawson says, Mount walking off laughing and joking with Maddison made me more angry than the performance. You're the 7th for United, show some passion and desire. Hit that like button. You might not like what's happened, but like the video. There's over 2,000 people watching. Not even hit 100 likes. Let's get to 300 likes. Hit that like button, please, people. JR says, Joe is right. Michael Wilkinson says, I'm very worried about Erik ten Hag's decision making. I think he's gained the benefit of taking over a really poor team that can't get worse. His transfer selection is looking very poor, and he looks lost. So people questioning Erik ten Hag. Listen, I like Erik ten Hag.
Yeah. This is what we've got to make clear. We're not...
No, but...
It's nothing wild we're suggesting.
No, but my point is, I like Erik ten Hag, but he's not immune from criticism when you look at some of the decisions he's made, and the fact that if Anthony's not performing and you spent 100 million euros on Anthony, people are going to raise their eyebrow. If Mason Mount isn't performing and you went out and bought him instead of going for a different type of midfielder, instead of getting, I don't know, maybe Romeo Lavia, or I know he went to Chelsea in the end, or you said McAllister, going for one of those players that I know they're slightly different. You wanted Mason Mount, and if he doesn't perform, people are going to look at you and go, well, you're the manager that brought him in. I know it is only early days. It's only the second game. And we saw last season how everyone lost their minds after 2 games.
Yes, exactly.
And we turned it around. And we have won one of our 2 games. But the fact of the matter is, the 2 performances so far from Manchester United this season have been poor. Yes, you can put some of that down to tiredness. Yes, you can put that down to the amount of fixtures and pre-season games we had to play. The fact that you've got certain players that played a lot of football last season and all the rest of it. But sooner or later, you have to hold your hands up and go, these aren't the performances I expect from players playing for Manchester United Football Club.
Yeah, the first goal as well, we were watching it on back of the replay. Yeah, it's just really bad defending as well. But also, there's not a lot of pressure coming from our midfield. So players either aren't tracking back, or there's not much, bite from the midfield to stop what is a good break from Spurs, but also what is fundamentally really poor sort of spatial awareness, allowing such an amount of time and such incredible amount of space for Spurs players to drill into our box. And then, of course, when it's in the box, Jay, it's just chaos in it. And eventually, you know, someone's going to put it in the back of the net. And you're going to look back at that goal, I think everyone will be disappointed in it.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those where I think for both goals, to be honest with you, I think there's much better things that better players can do a lot better. Sorry, I think it was Mount who wasn't tracking him when Sarr was making his run. I think he lets him get the wrong side of him. I think Shaw and Garnacho between him didn't deal with the danger on coming down Spurs' right hand side, our left hand side. It was like it took far too long for them both to realise the danger was there, and you can't have that. Andre Barbosa, who's been a member of the first team for 32 months, says we cannot start both Anthony and Garnacho.
True.
Both are just far too wasteful. Get Rashford back on the left in his best position. Mount, not the issue, he says. Washed Al-Quack says, games like this, you need a boy called Greenwood. I've read that out because a few people have been talking about Mason Greenwood. From what we gather, Mason Greenwood isn't returning to the United squad. We'll see what happens, but I don't think every time we have a bad result, we can start looking at Mason Greenwood. We know why Mason Greenwood isn't in the team. Everyone who's got access to the internet or to a phone knows exactly why. And we can't keep, every time things are going wrong, say Mason Greenwood's the answer, because he ain't. Just before we wrap up,
just goal,
before we, sorry,
what is going on there? Do we look at the back of that second goal? It's a pass in the net. We're all over the place so much that we allowed a simple,
Martinez has got to do better there.
Sharp pass into the net.
That is really poor.
Fucking paper airplanes need to do one as well.
Cars the Boots says, this is why selling Fred was not good. Bruno Mount cannot start as eights. Liverpool and City will tear us apart. We create less chances and whatever was created was wasted. Erik ten Hag will need major fixes. Tommy McCartney says, the reality is though it just wasn't just 2 games. We've been playing this way since the Carabao Cup final, expecting a lot more from Erik ten Hag this year. Joe, just before we wrap up, if you're Erik ten Hag for the Forest game, do you change it? Do you keep the same team? What do you do?
You've got to just make a little bit of a statement to the players that just let you down. He's got to really be strong about what his vision is for United.
That's so poor for Martinez, by the way, for that second goal. I love Martinez, but that is awful.
That second goal, for everyone involved in that second goal, sack him. You've got to be strong with your decision making. I think the back four, you stick with them, you change your mid, and you change your attacking lineup. I think Garnacho shouldn't start. I think I would change. It is tricky actually, isn't it? Because we got a new player like Mount. And my instinct was then to just change Mount, but actually, when he's starting to embed in the team, you don't want to sort of start things off on the wrong foot and drop him, and he starts being low in confidence.
Yeah.
So did you drop Casemiro? Because he wasn't great today, Casemiro. By the way, Onana was still good, I thought.
Onana did well, playing out from the back. He looked pretty confident. I don't really blame him for either of the goals. I think his defence let him down. And I think you can see what he brings to the team. But he's on a hiding to nothing if he's got defending like that in front of him. He's got full-backs that don't close the men down, midfielders that don't track the runners, and centre-backs that put it through their own net. I mean, that's just a comedy of errors without the comedy. So, yeah, we all need to see better from Manchester United defensively. Andre Onana, though, he's looking a pretty solid signing. A few question marks over some of the other signings over Manchester United under Erik ten Hag, and some of the players he inherited who can play a lot better than they have been doing. But second game in, it's not quite panic stations just yet. We go again. Forest at home, big game there. A game you'd expect Manchester United to turn up and win comfortably. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. We've got a big interview coming out tomorrow with an absolute gentleman and one of Sir Alex Ferguson's coaches who was there last time we won the Champions League and the league as well. So make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. That's been Joe McGrath.
Can I plug something? I've got a new food channel called The Wingmen. It's just me eating food. Cheers. Go The Wingmen, type that in. Thank you. Bye. The Wingmen. Go and check that out. Go and check him out, Sloppy Joe's. You know where to find me on Stretford, Paddock. Love my food. Manchester United going down 2-0 to Spurs, but there's plenty of time left in the season to turn it around. Let's hope we do it sooner rather than later. Thanks for watching.